Cameron Wolfe goes on Good Morning Football, and he's talking state of the Miami Dolphins. So we're going to react to it. What is up, Thin fans? So Cameron Wolfe, who very good follow, very good writer. If you haven't, go check him out. He's on the NFL Network. He covers the Dolphins, does a lot of cool stuff. He went on Good Morning Football, and he talked about the state of the Miami Dolphins with Tua, Vic Fangio, Mike McDaniel, everything. I haven't seen this yet. It's about a 7-minute, 46-second clip. We're going to watch it, react to it. I will tag it in the description. If you're like, God, I wish Doug would stop pausing and just play it. Or you can go follow Cameron Wolfe on Twitter, and it's on his Twitter page. But before we jump into that, two things I got to mention. Shout out, first off, new patron, Alexander Morley. I apologize if I butchered your last name. Thank you so much for becoming a patron. To the patrons. Patrons? Patreons? Patrons. You guys are going to start getting some special videos. I'm going to show you guys how to edit. There's already a series on there. So if you are a patron and you don't know about this series, there's already a series on there where I show you guys how to do this. And I think we're about 3 episodes in. I'm going to show you how to edit video, edit pictures. I'm going to show you a bunch of things. I think the next video I'm going to put up is editing videos. So if you are a patron and you haven't checked out all of the special content and the special videos that only you get, go over to the Patreon and go watch them. Same thing with the members. If you go to the community tab, there is a special area where you guys get special videos as well. So for the membership, go to the community tab and you'll see it'll say like member only with certain videos. You guys got special videos, and you're also going to get special videos because that's one of the perks of being members and patrons. So if you'd like to become a membership, hit the join button next to the subscribe button. If you'd like to become a patron, it's linked in the description. But never, ever, ever, and I feel like I have to constantly say this because some people think that I push it, which I don't. Never feel like you need to. Ever. Just watching, subscribing, hitting that thumbs up, and most importantly, commenting is all I care about. At all. That's it. That's all. That's all you gotta do. Other thing I gotta talk about. So yesterday I showed and talked about the fact that I got new merch. I got Sign the Man shirts up, and I updated the OG DDW shirts. And I told you guys that there was a promo code, early bird, you get 10% off. Well, Teesprings allowed me to activate the promo code and make it 10% off, right? They allowed me to activate it, but it seems like some of you guys are having a hard time using the promo code, and I figured out why. It's because I set the price on the shirts and the hoodies and everything so low that it won't, if they take 10% off, Teesprings gets no profit. Or I get no profit, which means Teesprings gets no profit, yada, yada. Because I don't care about making a profit off the merch. The merch is more about you guys representing it, going out there wearing it. Hey, who's that? DouglieDoWrong, cool. Sharing. So it's annoying that they allowed me to add the promo and it can't work. Like they should, like when I hit enable, it should say, oh, you can't because for whatever reason. So it's a little annoying. I'm going to look into that more and make sure that I think the early bird might work on the hoodies. And it might work on some of the other stuff, but I don't. See what I'm talking about? I'm going to find a new merch shop because this is just ridiculous. And I want to get you guys the best stuff. But yeah, I just want to let you guys know about that. So now we're going to jump into this and we're going to react to State of the Miami Dolphins with Cameron Wolfe on Good Morning Football. Pop it up. And yes, I have to make it small because I might get copyright striked. I don't know. But here we go.
All right, we're going to take that and dive deeper into the state of Mike McDaniel's fashion sense, but also the Dolphins with our own Cam Wolfe. He's here. We're not going to talk about the hoodie with the blazer on the front.
Pretty cool.
Awesome, while it may be.
$1,000 Italian fit right there for Mike McDaniel.
And he pulls it off with such casual class.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can't hide money.
You cannot hide money, and not in Miami. Cam, how do the Dolphins feel about Tua's future with the team, knowing all that we know?
Yeah, the Dolphins have been very clear that Tua is their quarterback in 2023. When he was on the field, led the league in passer rating. Really good out there on the field. But we know the big question.
You know, and again, I get called a Tua stan, a Tua this, a Tua that. I also get called a Tua hater when I'm critical of him because I'm very even-keeled. I still have to kind of not convinced, because I'm not one to convince people. You believe what you want, but I still have to, like, some people still don't believe you had a good year. And I could give you countless amount of people. And then some people, it's so funny. You have like him, you have Barry Jackson, you have, a bunch of people, a bunch of guys coming out, Marcellus, Louis Jacques, like all these people coming out saying, no, he's a Dolphin, he's a Dolphin, he's a Dolphin. And then you have some other people, like I made in that video, saying they're exploring options. It's so... I bring it to you because it's news, and a lot of you guys want me to talk about it, but a lot of it has to just entail a wait-and-see approach. It's just funny.
Can he stay on the field?
Yes.
The lasting memory we have of Tua are those 2 concussions that he had, missed 5 games. And how can you trust your quarterback to stay on the field and bet on him going forward? That's the big question with his 5th-year option. That would guarantee his 2024 year. And so that's why they haven't made a decision there. This is very much similar to the Daniel Jones situation where you like the guy. You're trying to figure out if you love him long term. And so that's the element.
And I agree with that. 100%. Everything Cameron Wolf just said, I 100% agree with it. He can't stay on the field. We need him on the field. When he's on the field, the team plays differently. Regardless of how you think of Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater or Jacoby Brissett. It wasn't just this year. Last year as well. When Tua was on the field, we played differently. We won. When Jacoby Brissett, Skylar Thompson, Teddy Bridgewater was on the team, played differently, and we lost. But again, it's a... Can we build with him long term? Can we do this? Can we do that? Very good questions.
Exciting right now. They're going to take their time, maybe not fully to that May 2nd deadline. But they haven't made a final decision. I thought it was interesting listening in the combine to Dolphins GM Chris Greer, who said, I can't say no, that the durability is a factor when we talk about these things. So Tua has to prove that he can stay healthy. He's doing jiu-jitsu this offseason to learn how to fall. A lot of his injuries, they believe, happened because he had some issues falling. And so they're hoping he learns how to fall, he stays on the field, and can prove he can be the long-term Dolphins quarterback for this team. But right now, 2023, Tua, yes, still a question beyond that.
Wow.
And that's exactly where I am. 100%, that's exactly where I am. Same mindset. I honestly would be surprised if he's not the quarterback for 2023. If he isn't, then he isn't. But I'd be shocked if he wasn't the quarterback 2023. But if you ask me about 2024, I can't answer it. That's exactly how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, Cam. So obviously we're talking a lot about Tua in Miami, right? But what do you think in the defense coordinator position? Vic Fangio was just after kind of a down year after his time with the Broncos. What do you think he brings to the table as a defense coordinator?
Yeah, the Dolphins badly wanted Vic Fangio. They made him the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league, and this was a guy he had a lot of competition. In fact, Mike McDaniel wanted Vic Fangio when he got hired initially a year ago, but they kept their previous defensive coordinator. Vic Fangio brings a scheme where they're going to run a lot of 2 high safeties, not blitz as much, and he's essentially going to be the head coach of their defense, which frees up Mike McDaniel to focus on the offensive side of the ball. And I'll tell you what, I spent a lot of time with the Dolphins this past year, and at times they had that scheme where they did all those cover 0 blitzes we've seen for years, which if it works, great. If it doesn't, it's a disaster. And there was a game they played against the Bills in the playoffs last year, 3rd and 15, Stephon Diggs beats them deep. They ran that cover 0 blitz, and it was an example of what I was talking with players late last season on frustrations about how frequently they ran that cover 0 blitz, particularly in situations where their personnel didn't allow it. Vic Fangio said it happened for Vic Fangio. I actually talked to Howard at the Pro Bowl, and he said, I've seen Fangio have top 10 defenses everywhere he goes, so that's my expectation for us. That offense was a top 5 group this year. They just need the defense to come back, and they think Fangio is going to be able to do that.
That is eye-opening. Eye-opening for me that, first off, I felt the same way. Go back and watch me, torch the defense, watch me get upset with Boyer, watch, my reaction, wanting him fired, all that stuff. I had the same reaction, but the fact that the players hated it and they put him on an island, I said that. It frustrates me. I said that. I said Boyer is calling these plays and calling these schemes and calling this stuff at the wrong time. If you know that your corners are struggling and you know your secondary is struggling, do not put them out on an island. And that's literally what the players said. They hated the constant 0 blitzing at the wrong times and doing. He would 0 blitz. Again, Fangio said, when I want to, not because I need to. 3rd and 17, you don't blitz. They're on their own 25. But it's third and whatever in the red zone, and you blitz, leaving a guy like it was.
I'm still thinking of Tua doing MMA. That's kind of cool. I mean, it's a really good nugget.
To learn how to fall better.
Yeah. I think it's a skill. It's interesting because the Dolphins don't have a first-round pick. In fact, I don't think they draft till 51.
Yep.
Well, I'm not going to play hypotheticals if they did, but the Tua thing, they love him as a person. They like him as a player. Do you think there is very little or zero chance they shock us on draft day and say we just can't trust him to stay in the field and we got to spend a high draft pick on a quarterback?
No, the element there is they have to value that backup quarterback position because the reality is you can't hope is not a strategy. And so as much as they say, hey, Tua's progressing, we think he's going to be healthy, think is not no. And so they spent $6-7 million on Teddy Bridgewater to be his backup quarterback this past year, and Teddy wasn't available at times. And so because of Tua's unavailability at sometimes, you have to value that position. So whether a veteran, maybe they go Philadelphia's route, I wouldn't be shocked if they found them a Hendon Hooker or someone and said, hey, you don't need to play now, but we need somebody that we can trust in a situation like that. So no, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities. This team has to prep for if Tua gets hurt. They love him on the field. Just got to figure out how to keep him on the field.
And I think that's where some people were getting confused with what Chris Greer was saying when they were talking about all the possibilities and stuff, because they asked him about Skylar Thompson. And I made the video. Go back and watch the video about, all the options that Josine Anderson talked about. But I think that their biggest priority is that backup role. And I talked about that. I talked about that in my free agent target video where I said, in a perfect world, I'd sign Derek Carr. Because then, whoever loses the competition, whether it be Carr, whether it be Tua, you have a very good backup. We haven't had a very good backup since Matt Moore. And the Dolphins need a very good backup because, again, Tua has shown he has the inability to, not miss games. So, there's the Baker Mayfield, there's the Gardner Minshew, and then there's quarterbacks that are going to be available. Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota. You got to get yourself a backup that is better than Brissett and better than Teddy Bridgewater, because those two guys were poo-poo.
The cool thing that you don't get tripped into if the Dolphins, a team that takes a quarterback in the later rounds, is that a lot of these quarterbacks are 25 years old because they've done the transfer thing. So there's a sneaky big population of quarterbacks that have the veteran status, if you will, because they've amassed 45 starts in college. Cam, how close do the Dolphins believe they are to catching the Bills in the AFC East? Somehow those are the two teams we were talking about in the AFC East. It's kind of a strange dynamic, but we're going to roll with it.
Yes.
Before he even answers it. Before this man even answers this question, I'm going to give you my answer to that. Previous 2 seasons under Brian Flores in 2020 and 2021, the Bills owned the Dolphins. 0-4 against the Bills, ridiculous scores. They own the Dolphins and Brian Flores' team. Last year, we beat them by 2. They beat us by 3 twice. It is not the same dynamic. So to me, and again, I'm a little biased, I'm a Dolphin fan. To me, that gap is small, especially with their defensive coordinator not coming back this year, especially with the cap situation that they have, especially with Josh Allen's contract starting to be active and all that money is going to go towards him. That gap got real small. But also, you can't forget, you got the Jets back there. They're a few pieces away. The Patriots, they got money and still got Bill Belichick. But the Dolphins showed this past year, there's nothing to fear for Buffalo. And I got Vic Fangio. Let's see what he has to say.
It's flip, right?
Yep.
It's not the Patriots division anymore. Bills are the king of that division. And the reality is the Dolphins thought they were closer than they were. If you look at the standings, 4.5 games gap. But that playoff game made them feel like, hey, if we just do this, if we do that,
and they beat them in the regular season.
There. They beat them in the regular season early. They played with Skylar Thompson, and they were literally a touchdown away. And so the element they have to do is what we just talked about. They were 1-4 in games that Tua did not start and finish. That's a huge gap. That's the reason why the Bills are so far ahead of them in that division. But they have an off-season opportunity here. The Bills are in a lot of cap, have a lot of cap decisions to make. They're going to get rid of some players. They have some decisions on Jordan Poyer and Tremont Edmonds, and that's the reality of having a quarterback on a long-term deal. You're not going to be able to keep people. Whereas the Dolphins, you fix a few holes, particularly on that defense, get a little bit more speed, get a little bit more range, then you can potentially catch a Josh Allen and the Bills. And I'll give you one, Jordan Poyer. who we just talked about before, he has been very
in Miami
about the fact that he would love to play in the state with no taxes.
I saw that.
He's interested in Miami, and his agent's Drew Rosenhaus, who gets a lot of guys to the Dolphins. And so imagine a team with Javon Holland, a rising safety there in Miami, and Jordan Poyer there, and a Vic Fangio defense that loves those two high safeties. You take away from your rival, and then you also get better on your defense. And maybe that's a little bit on how you get and close that gap between
Western
the Dolphins
New
and
York
the
would
Bills.
freak out. They love Poyer there, but it might be time to go.
Again, you might think, oh, you only said that stuff because I have not watched this. But me and Cameron are same page. He said pretty much the same thing I said.
Let's close with some McDaniel talk. Erdahl, you were there.
Yeah.
You were with him.
Yes.
What's the McDaniel vibe? We all want to know. I've never met the man in person.
Neither had I up until this weekend at the Combine. My conversation with Mike McDaniel went socially exactly how I wanted it to.
Great.
It's like the man you see at the podium is like the exact man
right?
you have that like, nice to meet you, shake your hand. And he listens so incredibly well to like, you know what? You're a head coach in the NFL. You're one of 32. You are allowed to kind of write anybody off, in my opinion. Like, I know it's probably not socially acceptable, but you could do that if you wanted to. He did not. He voiced his frustration with Good Morning Football in particular about how we poached Jason McCourty in the offseason. McDaniel, while McCourty was rehabbing his Achilles, was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to New Jersey. I'm going to go home and get my Achilles right. McDaniel goes, I'd love to have you work for the Dolphins. Like, come be a part of our team. Play, whatever you want to do. Like, he understood the value of one Jason McCourty. And the next thing Mike McDaniel knew, Jason McCourty was smack dab right here in Good Morning Football. So, sorry, Coach, we got you on that one. You can't have him back. You can't have him back. It was awesome. I professed my adoration for Jalen Waddle just right to his face. I was like, you got to keep using that guy. I love him. He's great. It was a great conversation.
I always picture the Combine being big for people talking to you, but kind of scanning the room while they're talking to you. I would think it's like Lollapalooza for that, but not McDaniel.
Not McDaniel. He was like right there. He was honed in. Ian Rappaport was to my left trying to get in on the conversation. I was like, dude, we're good,
Ian.
okay? I got to talk to Mike McDaniel.
No scoops right now, right?
I got to talk to the hoodie. Yeah, no scoops, exactly. That was great, yeah. But McCourty is ours. That's the official statement here from Good Morning Football. Yeah, exactly.
Good segment. It was a very good segment. A lot of intel, a lot of stuff, especially talking about the defensive players not liking that zero blitz in the wrong situation. I thought that was very interesting. But comment below. Let me know what you guys think about what they had to say. What's your thoughts on Tua? Are you in the same boat with me where, the lack of availability is bothering? But when he's available, the Dolphins are better. It's just the whole situation on the defense, chasing the Bills, all that stuff. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I got a lot of videos planned. I'm still breaking down film to do the yearly thing of Tua. It's a lot. I just did the Ravens game, and people like to say he had one good quarter. Go back and watch that game. He had more than one good quarter. But comment below. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But like usual, stay classy. Effins up.